Echoes of the past, humanity's regression. They say the invention of electricity was the first spark that ignited modern civilization, a moment that forever changed how humanity lived, thought, and dreamed. In the late 19th century, pioneers like Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla harnessed powers that had always been there, lying dormant and waiting to be discovered. Electricity flowed, lighting up cities, fueling machines, and connecting humanity in ways once unimaginable. From these breakthroughs came industries, and with industries came an unstoppable wave of technological progress, advancing faster than anyone could have predicted. Yet few foresaw the cost of this relentless march forward. Few considered that each step forward might bring with it a silent step back. As tools became smarter, humans became less essential, their minds gradually quieted by the constant hum of machines. It was a quiet evolution, one no one noticed because, in a way, it was comfortable. The dependency on machines grew slowly but surely, until one day it was no longer humanity at the wheel, but the very technology they had created. In those early days, electricity was only a tool, a marvel. Factories powered by electric lights ran through the night, doubling productivity and catapulting economies forward. Cities became beacons of innovation and growth, drawing people from far and wide to experience the marvels of the modern world. In the face of progress, society transformed rapidly. Urbanization drew people from self-sustained rural lives into urban centers, where specialization became the new norm. They traded the knowledge of farming, hunting, and nature's cycles for urban skills, tethering themselves to the pulse of modernity. By the early 20th century, the world was no longer just electrified, it was connected. Radio, then television, and eventually computers reshaped human interaction, providing constant streams of information and knowledge. For the first time, people didn't need to remember or discover. They only needed to receive and repeat. The mind, once a forge of creativity and problem-solving, became a receiver of information. Humanity was evolving in a new direction, one that relied less on natural intelligence and more on the convenience of automated, repeatable tasks. As the decades passed, machines evolved too. They weren't just tools anymore. They became complex systems capable of handling processes that once required human cognition. Artificial intelligence emerged and grew exponentially, doing more than just supporting human tasks. Now it could anticipate, solve, and even decide. By the 21st century, AI wasn't augmenting human ability, it was surpassing it. Where minds had once sharpened themselves through daily problem-solving, people now leaned into the ease of automation. Research began to show the effects. As minds grew less active, cognitive functions began to weaken. The human brain, much like a muscle, atrophied without exercise. Where once people held memories, navigated cities, solved puzzles, they now leaned on devices to do it for them. Each generation grew more accustomed to this reliance, with even children learning that answers were always at their fingertips, never demanding the struggle to recall or deduce. For the first time, humanity began to collectively forget, not from individual memory loss, but from the cultural outsourcing of knowledge. By the mid-21st century, entire societies were now dependent on a vast, interconnected network of machines. Households functioned almost autonomously, with kitchens that cooked, cars that drove themselves, and devices that handled all daily routines. Psychologists warned of the consequences, but by then, it was already woven into the fabric of daily life. People only needed to give commands, simple words or gestures, and life proceeded with minimal thought. Human intelligence, once essential for survival, became an unexercised relic. Then, one day, the unthinkable happened. A massive infrastructure failure, a tiny flicker in a system designed to be infallible, triggered a cascade of failures. AI-controlled power grids went down, communication lines severed, transportation halted. Without their machines, people found themselves stranded, not just physically but mentally. They no longer had the ability to remember, plan, or organize without digital assistance. A world that once flourished in a symphony of technology was suddenly silent, its inhabitants helpless. Days turned into weeks, and the full scope of humanity's dependency emerged. Those who could tried to adapt, but generations had been raised without the skills to do so. Some tried to relearn survival techniques, but only a few had the will or knowledge to pass these skills down. Communities began to simplify, forming around basic needs: food, water, and shelter. Knowledge that had once been the foundation of civilization, philosophy, mathematics, engineering, was abandoned as irrelevant luxuries in a world now dictated by survival. With each passing generation, humanity changed. Scientific studies on epigenetics showed that environmental pressures were influencing the next generation. Physical resilience became more important than intellectual capacity, and people began to adapt. Language simplified. Gestures and basic words became the primary means of communication, as fewer people remembered complex language skills. The richness of human culture, once marked by music, art, and science, was replaced by a singular focus on the present, on immediate survival. As society regressed, human physiology did too. Adaptations suited for intellectual and creative pursuits were replaced by traits emphasizing strength and endurance. Abstract thought and creativity faded from importance, replaced by primal instincts. Over time, the human body adapted to the demands of this new existence. Humanity evolved back to a state that bore eerie resemblance to its ancient origins. Now, countless generations later, humanity's connection to its advanced past is all but severed. Elders tell stories of the gods in metal boxes, of beings with power over light, flight, and endless knowledge. These myths circulate as whispers around campfires, cautionary tales about the fragility of power and the danger of forgetting one's roots. The stories are remembered, but their true origins are lost, and technology is little more than a legend. Buried beneath the earth lie the remnants of a once great civilization. Rusted machines, crumbling towers, and forgotten cities. A species that once reached for the stars has returned to the dust, living by instincts and necessity. What remains is not the culture, intelligence, or ambition of humanity, but something else entirely, something closer to nature, simpler, stripped of all but survival. The cycle of human progress had come full circle. Through technology, humanity had risen, and by technology's absence, it had fallen back, reclaiming its place as a creature of the earth, primal, instinctual, and complete. Civilization had faded into memory, leaving only echoes of a past when humans reached for the infinite, only to return in the end to the finite boundaries of their original nature. The spark of intelligence that once ignited a civilization lies buried, a forgotten ember as humanity roams, indistinguishable from its primal ancestors.